Hello, everyone. Welcome to Weekly Manga Recap. I am Nick with Quinn.
Me.
Hurrah and huzzah.
Huzzah!
Yeah, it's we have manga to talk about today.
A whole bunch.
Yeah, I want to briefly just tell people about a thing that a couple weeks ago I contemplated either asking to cancel or delay this recording of the show, which is that there's an AEW wrestling show happening 30 minutes from where I live. As we get set to talk about this show, it is like 5 minutes from starting. Big packed card because it's their beach break thing. They always make it a big deal. There's a world title match where Kenny Omega might win the world title, which I would be really psyched if that happens.
There's a world championship match on this card.
So I do occasionally get ads for like local events and stuff on my phone, because it's the one device I have that I don't have ad blocker on. But it was saying like, oh, it's going to happen in Clearwater, Florida. And I was like, ooh, at the Big Hair Sound. And I was like, oh, because you see, the Big Hair Sound is an amphitheater. It is outdoors.
Oh.
And
yeah, that's going to be an uncomfortable day.
It is 88 degrees right now with 70% humidity, which means that it feels like high 90s outside, and it ain't gonna feel better, Nick, by the time the show ends.
Don't worry about it. You can cool yourself down with a nice $20 bottle of water from the concession stand.
Mop off your sweat with one of our $40 t-shirts.
Yeah, you can cool yourself down with a walking taco that's only $8.
Walking taco.
Have you ever had a walking taco?
I have not, no.
It's when you get like a bag of Doritos and they basically like open it and then they just kind of pour taco ingredients into it. Like they'll just pour like the meat and cheese and lettuce, whatever, into it. And then you just put a fork into it and you eat a taco while you walk.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's all the taco ingredients, but you don't have to worry about it all being like intact because it's in a bag.
Exactly. It's good for like a stadium or something like that because you don't have to worry about like taking a bite and then losing half the taco or whatever.
Right. I get you. Okay.
And also has the adorably cute name of Walking Taco. Which,
Walking Taco, yeah.
Gotta love. Well, I'm sad that you don't get to see it. I wish you could enjoy that. But think about
I'll watch it later.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, it would be annoying if you went all that way and then Kenny Omega didn't win and you just had to watch MJF celebrate. Because I don't know if you've turned on MJF. I have. I'm actually relatively a fan of him at this point, but I know for a while you were not a fan.
I don't think that I've ever had a real problem with him.
Okay. I might be misremembering.
It's Darby Allin that I'm like, no, fuck that guy.
I don't think I know anybody who legitimately earnestly likes Darby Allin, unfortunately.
Maybe we're just too old.
Yeah. Well, look, in fairness, I've also never cared for, and maybe this is reductive, but like, I never liked the Hardy Boys either. Like, there's something about like the spindly jumps off of heavy, like tall things and hurts themselves person that I'm like, yeah, I'm not vibing with this for whatever reason.
It is a true feat. Like, the guy deserves a reward of some kind because here's the guy who's like, alt. He dresses in all black. He's got, half his face painted like a skull. Have you seen my wardrobe? It's like one of the few shirts I own that doesn't have a skull on it. And I see that guy and I'm like, fuck him. He sucks. What a feat to accomplish that I don't like the skull guy.
That is truly incredible when you think about it. Well, that's fair enough. Nick, we have a lot of manga to talk about, so I guess we'll probably jump into that, and then we'll just update you guys throughout the night if, like, I don't know, Kenny Omega wins the title or something like that. That said, Yeah, I also am not paid attention to any news tracker, so the only way I'll know is either like manifesting psychic powers or like if like a airplane flies by that's like shouting it out via announcement, I guess. Which would be rude because not everyone's going to be watching the show. Spoilers.
Right. I was hoping that I could do a joke about it. It's like I'm checking the results and it looks like the soccer match is 1-0 or something, but there's apparently no game tonight. So.
Oh, what the fuck? World Cups. Have you been watching the World Cup at all? Is that like something?
No, I've been keeping up with it, but I don't really watch sports in general. So.
Yeah. I feel bad because like even my sister, who doesn't watch any sports, has watched several World Cup matches. But I'm like, look, I'm sorry. I've just been conditioned my entire life by this country to think soccer is boring and sucks. And
now we're supposed to care about it.
And I can't change that. Just because it's being held here, I'm suddenly supposed to give a shit about the World Cup? That's not how this works.
Yeah, apparently, like a lot of visiting countries are like, "Ooh, food." that's been delightful, though.
Yeah, I've enjoyed seeing Germans walk into a Walmart and being like, "You can just buy the guns. There's not even a man behind the counter." I don't know why the German sounds French, but they're a multilingual group over there.
All right, I guess we should finally talk about manga on our manga podcast, Quinn.
I suppose.
So, yeah, we finished up. We finished up Hematen last week, but we are going to be talking about Animal Signal going forward, starting this week.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how things go. Starting with Ichi the Witch, chapter 89, 89th Hunt 1-on-1, which features a very cool 2-page color spread of a bunch of characters rendered as finger puppets, which is cute.
Yeah, all the witches.
Yes. The Magic Keepers show up to see the aftermath of Descaras's Magipong battle against Minakata. She lost. Turns out she should not have gone into a magic battle against someone with an anti-magic weapon.
She also is so upset she has literally cried a puddle so large she can like lay her like the upper part of her body in it and still like have a visible outline of water. Like she is creating a small body of water at this point.
She could make tear angels
yes.
with her with the fit that she's throwing. And she's just pouting and everything, and meanwhile Descaras is like, I didn't do anything wrong. It's everyone else's fault for not cheering me on enough. However, Gokuraku points out to Ichi, like, actually a big part of the reason that she's actually pouting is that you kept saying nice things about Minakata during the match and not about her. I mean, who do you actually see as your real mentor? And both Minakata and Descaras from the ground have big ears perking up, like, whoa. And Ichi says, like, well, no, it's Minakata. Like, he taught me the basics of hunting. Yeah, Descaras maybe signed some sort of master-student thing, but, like, I haven't really ever learned anything from her. Which, like, yeah, come to think of it, she's, like, taught him nothing.
And I love Minakata just, like, stoically, like, smirks and crosses his arms. Descaras, like, falling into a deeper depression.
But Ichi follows this up by saying, Descaras isn't really a mentor figure. She's family. And Descaras, gong, sits up. And goes over to Minakata, has a big shit-eating grin on her face. Good game. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's nice. I just kind of let you win this one. Yeah, it's just for my family. It's like, I let you win. That's all.
It's so fucking... I love that she immediately starts to rub it in. She's like, well, I mean, if my family wants me to do it, I'm so happy to play a game with you, with my family being here and all.
The Magic Keepers decide, let's do kind of like a team match thing. And so, yeah, it's going to be ping pong battles. We see some more of. Higurashi goes up against Ichi. His whole thing is that he's got like dual weapons for his Magic Keeper weapon. So he wields 2 paddles, which I think is illegal. But Higurashi also says, like, this would be way more fun if you cut loose and went as hard as you did that time you let the fabled King Uroro possess you. And Ichi didn't really hear the sound of that. He scores a big heavy point. Looks like he uses Lazud for it. Not Lazud.
Is Zari? Or Izuri?
Izuma.
Izuma?
Inazuri, yeah. And so Higarashi's like, "Hey, I thought you said you weren't going to use magic." And she says, "I felt a twinge of bloodlust." So Ichi manages to pull that one out. Then we get Boxster versus Gokuraku. Gokuraku has deliberately lowered his power level, we are told, to human level, so that he doesn't just, shoot the ball out of a cannon every time. Then Gokuraku's like, why are you going to wear your overcoat the whole time? Isn't it going to be hard for you to move around? And Boxster says, it looks stunning on me, so it's fine.
You know what?
And
My man's name might be Boxster, but he does bring at least something else to the table, and I appreciate that.
And he uses his coattails as his secret technique, batting the ball around all the time. And Gokuraku's like, wait, you can do that? And Boxster just uses every part of his body and his coat, and he says, my Magipong game, like my beauty, is flawless. And absolutely destroys Gokuraku in their match. Mostly because Gokuraku thinks he's too fucking funny. Like he can't keep serious.
He can't. This guy's blocking shots with his long legs and his coat. Like there's no way to take it seriously. And he still gets 3 points off on him.
Yeah. Zairo says, I mean, I don't know if I really want to play this. You don't really have an opponent to go against me. We kind of outnumber you, and but then Kamuki comes back from the sauna. She's like, oh, that was nice and relaxing. And oh no, she has to go up against Zairo. And she's just, it's like when I tried to play table tennis one time, it's just missing. There's a bit where she's like going for an overhead and it rolls in front of her on the table. She's
just really bad at it.
Ichi, best friend in the world, goes, you can do it, Kamugi. And Zairo eventually just looks across the table and goes, yeah, I forfeit. So Kamugi wins, technically. But it's down to a tiebreaker match because Chun is still has no one to fight. But then Moneygold shows up. Casual attire Moneygold, which means that, she's extra hot now.
I like it's casual gear Moneygold, but she still has her own emblem emblazoned on the collar of her shirt. So she's still like, I'm wearing casual workout clothes. They are personally branded though.
That's how extra she is, yes. So it's the leader of the Witches Association versus the leader of the Magic Keepers in a ping pong match. What's up?
He keeps farting.
Okay. I thought you were emotionally reacting to something.
No.
Sorry.
I mean, I am. Disgust is an emotion.
That's true.
Get off!
So, the two of them start playing. Chun inquires about Amador's condition, and Moneygold says that her mind has cleared enough that she can respond to simple questions. And of course, yes, the main reason she went on her rampage was because of Fujimine's brainwashing. She was on a hunt for the 7 stars and was ambushed by Fujimine. So Chun says, does that mean we can say for certain that she's working with the World Hater Magic? And Moneygold confirms that that does seem highly likely, especially because the hand that retrieved her, we've seen the World Hater Magic use that before. So she says, our enemies have formed an alliance, in which case, why can't we? We'll hunt the World Hater. You continue pursuing Fujimine. Why don't we cooperate towards that objective? And Chun says, all right, yeah, fair point. We may be able to offer help to the association, if just in this one particular case. And we get a flashback to more of the conversation that Moneygold had with Tricapita, which was, we got to hide you from the Magic Keepers because you guys signed a mentor-pupil blood contract, you and Fujimine, which means, since Fujimine is the teacher in that relationship, if you die, she dies. And if they find out about that, they could very well demand that we kill you so that she'll be killed. So we'll cooperate with the Magic Keepers in order to stand against Fujimine and the World Hater Magic's threat, but we'll protect our members' confidential information too. It won't be easy, but I will do it because I am the chairwoman of the Mantinal Witches Association. All right. Pretty badass.
Yeah.
Cool. Also, Monaco won the match. Hooray. So.
And pretty dominating as well, 11-5.
Yeah. Better than Taiki's victories in badminton recently. So
who's Taiki, Nick? I don't think I know him anymore.
You're already
series is done in my mind. He's not playing badminton anymore. I'm out of here.
I want to call attention to the victory dance that Descartes does on behalf of the fact that the witches won the team match. Just the most obnoxious victory dance. Ichi walks off after all this is settled, and Uroro pops up on his shoulder and says, they don't actually trust each other. They're all saying, oh, friendship, but we know that they're just going to stab each other in the back. That's what humans are like. They're cowardly, they're mean, they're annoying, and who knows? Maybe you'll get caught up in their plots and wind up as collateral damage, just like you deserve. So Ichi splots him. Because he's got his own thoughts to think of in this moment. Because he thinks of what Fujimine said when she recognized his, bloodlust, which was, you aren't cut out to be human. And he clutches his heart and is just left thinking about that.
Yeah, it's a interesting sort of somber note to end what is, I think, a pretty fun and not exciting, I guess, but engaging chapter. There's, it's amusing seeing our characters match up with one another in ping pong matches. And honestly, this was the most effective way they've done so far to make the Magic Keepers personable and memorable to me, because at least now I'm okay, Boxster is the annoying fashion one, there's the annoying dual wielding one, and then there's the guy who's nice and just forfeited to Kamugi. So that's how I'm going to remember some of them.
Yes. They're starting to finally come a little bit into their own. Except Chun, that fucking asshole. So
yeah, unless he shows up next time, no hat. In fact, I don't think he's allowed to have hair either next time either. He just kind of has to and not even like a bald scalp. I just want there to be an absence of a top of the head, just kind of a void.
Skull exposed, bleeding.
I mean, yeah, that would also suggest he's probably going to bleed out at some point, and that'd be great. Yeah, it's an interesting introspective little end here that I hope we can get a little bit more context on in the future, because I wonder, has Ichi to this point really questioned his humanity in that way?
I don't think that he's really had a chance to. I mean, he's just been some kid who lives in the woods up until, before all this went down, and he hasn't really had to learn any big lessons, at least in the sense of how they would challenge that mindset. So, he's been through a lot, but we haven't really seen him grow very much up to this point. And we're almost 2 years into this series, so it would be, welcome, I think, to see him do a little bit of, maybe not even necessarily changing, but at least, having a greater sense of perspective and show that things have changed him and affected him on his journey.
Yeah. So curious to see what they do with that. Good chapter.
Blue Box, chapter 249. We see each other every morning. The sun rises on the bed and breakfast. As, after their night together, Chinatsu wakes up. She is still in Taiki's arms as he still hasn't opened his eyes. And she, just kind of strokes his hair and says, we see each other every morning. Mm-hmm. And then he wakes up and they embrace. And then after a bit of a delay, they get going. And we cut to presumably some other day as Taiki is going to badminton practice. And he approaches Yusa, whom he's doing some practice stuff with. And he's like, hey, do you ever wish you had a girlfriend? And Taiki just thinks I was told to let's introduce this guy to some girls on the badminton team, and I don't know if he's gonna really be interested. And of course, Yusa's just never had a girlfriend. No.
Yeah. He's that seems pointless. Don't understand that. Who do you think asked Taiki to set Yusa up with a girl?
That's a good question.
Because I was saying there,
it could have been Ayame. Honestly,
that's actually probably the right answer.
She might have been like, "Well, I'm not going after Bulka Boy anymore."
Yeah,
but some girl out there would do right by him. I'm sure.
Because I was like, I don't think his little brother would ask for that. No. And then I was thinking, I was like, none of the other men in the series, I think, would care. And then I do enjoy thinking about like Chinatsu being like, "Hey, can you make sure he has like a love interest so that he's not going to steal you from me?"
Haruto is walking by at that moment, and he says, like, "It's pointless. You're just wasting your time trying to do that." Every time that he's had a conversation with a girl who's asked him out, it's gone like, "Well, what would going out entail? You know, like going on dates? Well, but I've got practice, and that's it." That's it.
How would that help my badminton game? I don't think it will. Not interested.
Yep. So yeah, Yusa's like, "I don't see the importance of it," and Taiki's just kind of like, "All right, you're kind of not human, but okay." Hyodo says, "Well, don't you ever like have nights where you've like lost a match and you're feeling frustrated and you think, oh, I wish that I had someone to comfort me?" And Yusa looks at him and goes, "Well, do you?" And he's like, "Don't worry about me. This is about you, not me."
Well, I'm not under fire here, all right?
So Yusa thinks for a second, and he just says, "Whenever I feel frustrated, I just hang in there. It would be a shame if being comforted softened the frustration I feel."
Oh, hey, all right. Look at that. We got an ace icon in this series. All right, I'm all about this. I can't wait to finish the rest of the chapter secure in his knowledge that this series has a prominent ace character.
Quinn, we're supposed to read this ahead of time, Quinn.
I can't wait to turn a couple more pages and.
So they go back into practicing, and then Yusa takes part in a big, journalism event. Like he's getting interviewed because he won at nationals. So there's, a local news team that's coming in to interview him and stuff. And they're like, "Oh, we're really looking forward to this." And he's just kind of like, "Okay." Doesn't seem to give a shit, of course. And Haruto's tagging along too. And Yusa's like, "Why did you come? A TV recording sounds interesting." Plus, he has other reasons for doing so, which is that Hina's also getting interviewed. Yes. Because, she's also, a prominent person.
She also won nationals, essentially.
Yeah. And Nina is also there. And Yusa's immediately like, "Why are you here?" Or Haruto's like, "Why are you here?" And she says, "TV seems cool." She says the same reason he does. So Hina and Yusa get interviewed together because Yusa won in the nationals, and Hina, she won in solo rhythmic gymnastics. Hooray! She didn't get an arc about that. Forget her though. She's not one of the protagonists. So.
Look, Hina's just really, really good, and you don't need to see her journey. You just know that she did well. That's it. It's all fine.
So, Haruto and Nina are talking on the side a little bit, and one of the questions that they have comes from a viewer, which is for Hina, which is, "Hey, whenever I fail, like it makes me feel so depressed, and I'm afraid that I'm going to lose again next time. How do I stop myself from failing?" And Hina just says, "Well, yeah, I've failed plenty of times too, and yeah, it is frightening and depressing. I've definitely been alone, crying myself to sleep. But you can only take the next step if you hang in there. What matters most is looking ahead. With enough time, the shock gradually subsides. Failure helps you grow. You want to figure out why you lost, find out what you're lacking. Failure gives you a chance to reflect on yourself, so you've got to keep going. If you do that, before you know it, you'll become stronger than before." So, obviously, Hina is not really talking about her experience in gymnastics, but it's nice to know that she does seem to finally have a healthy attitude about being rejected. So, after the interview, Yusa is kind of staring at Hina, and she's like, what is it? And Yusa says, "You cry yourself to sleep?" And she's like, so what?" And he just says, well, you just don't look like the type to do so. Well, how do I look? But he says, other than that, though, I can relate to what you said. He's got the tiniest little smile on his face, just a little one. And he asked for her name. And Haruto immediately realized, like, wait. No.
This poor guy is like, I've been getting absolutely cock-blocked by my brother in sports, and now he's about to steal my girl? You can't do this to me.
She rejected you twice. And Nina also realizes what's going on, too. And she's like, oh, wow, that's interesting. So,
yeah, I like because she's not concerned. She's like, this is going to be amusing to watch.
I'm going to get my popcorn. This is fun. Chinatsu and Taiki were watching the interview. Isn't that nice? And Chinatsu says, oh, yeah, by the way, Aime is going to have its culture festival soon. I'm going to come hang out. And Taiki's like, please don't. And she says, why not? And we start to get a montage, first intercut with their narration of some of the memories that they have together in their last year before Chinatsu studies abroad. So the reason why Taiki is like, please don't come, is that they're doing a maid cafe thing with the guys as the maids. And so there's a cute picture with the two of them, and Taiki's dressed as a maid while Chinatsu's like, this is the funniest thing.
She can't stop laughing.
Chinatsu is, driving now. We see Taiki practicing, and they're just like, let's just keep on making memories together. And we get to see some of those memories. We get to see them, just hanging out at the train station, going to the same theme park they were at before, where Kyo and Ayame, Kyo started dating, except they're there for Halloween. We see, hanging out with Yumika for basketball, hanging out with Haru and just playing casual badminton, going to seemingly the same frozen lake where they confess to each other, and Taiki, having his birthday. And then last we get a big picture of like all of the major supporting characters all together in a nice group photo where everyone's all happy and stuff. And finally, the sun rises on one last morning as Taiki's mom greets him for the day and says, oh, you're later than usual. And he says, yeah, today's graduation. So I actually read this chapter before I saw the news that had come out a few days before that Blue Box is having its final chapter next week.
Yes.
Which, after the last few chapters prior to this, did not shock me in the slightest. I'm feeling a little bit bittersweet about it. I think that it's great that we have a manga that has clearly, told its story and is just ready to just be done, and not overextend its welcome. Having a manga that doesn't end too early is rare, and having one that doesn't end too late is even rarer. So this is, feels like the right timing. 250 chapters, 5 years of this series, had a very nice pace all the way through it, and told the whole complete story of Taiki and Chinatsu together, and then getting together and getting a chance to date, and then concluding with Taiki graduating, which as Koji Miura said in the author comments this week, the story was always going to finish in the Blue Box. It was, there's not going to be any more story now that they're not going to the gym anymore.
I'm really excited because next chapter they're going to paint the gym blue, and that's how the series is going to end. They're like, and now our box is blue, as you can see.
This really was our Blue Box.
It all comes together. I'll save a lot of my thoughts for next week when we get our final chapter. But I do really like where this is headed. And, next week will be, as you said, it's going to be a little bittersweet because we're saying goodbye to a series that we really enjoy. But also one that is definitely going out in one of its strongest stretches of chapters. So that's a good thing.
It was nice to also see the montage of, and they had many more adventures together. And then we're like, okay, now we're going to come back and then we're going to wrap it up after that point. So, we'll see how things conclude for this series.
Indeed.
All right.
In the meantime,
Dandadan.
It's chapter 240, Operation Rescue Gigi. So we open the chapter in the dinosaur room where all the dinosaurs are running about. And we can see Ira, Momo, and Okarun running amongst them. Momo is like, hey, is it okay for us to be running alongside the dinosaurs? And Okarun explains, it's fine if we stay amongst all these herbivore dinosaurs because then the carnivores won't feel safe to attack us. So we'll be safe. But it is a stampede of dinosaurs still behind us, so do not fall or you will get probably trampled to death. So, work on that. They find a couple of the Brachiosauruses. Ira uses her hair to climb up on one of them, and she's like, okay, like, do you know which dinosaur it is? They're like, one like this, but we'll just have to check all of them. So they are preparing to, slam them in the side to get them to cough up, hopefully, Gigi. But as they're on top of this dinosaur, and we have a moment of, the two of them about to hold hands to activate the club, there's a flash in the distance, and a sniper bullet shoots Okarun. And the first time I saw this panel, I gasped because I thought it shot him in the head. It is not.
Well, there you go. Romance over. It's done.
He's dead. I was like, wild.
Well, that's one way to resolve a love triangle.
I would have saved this for at least the last page of the chapter, but 3 pages in and the main character's dead, I guess, is a way to do it. Okarun instead gets shot in the shoulder and falls down. But yes, we see Clown Sniper from far away is aiming at them and trying to take them out. So Ira is like, all right, well, I'm going to go take out this sniper. You guys go get Gigi, basically. So while she does that, Okarun and Momo hold hands, activate the Ogre Club, and they just smack one of the dinosaurs really, really hard in the abdomen, and it vomits out all of its food. Nothing's in there, so they're like, all right, we'll have to go to the next one. This one's making weird noises, probably that one. And they smack that one with it. And they break the rule of 3, and this actually is the one with Gigi in it.
Yes.
So they're digging through it. It's basically a game of Double Dare. They're digging through a swamp of goo, and Gigi is inside. They managed to find him when a couple of raptors show up, Nick. It's looking really bad. They're like, look, just stay behind me, Momo. No matter what, please stay behind me. And then the evil eye stands up. He goes, dinosaurs! Yep. Dinosaurs! And he just hugs one of the raptors' heads. And Momo is confused. She's like, what's happening? Why are they best friends? And Okarun explains their biological instincts are telling them they are no match for the evil eye, so they are just being docile. And we end the chapter with Evil Eye hugging one of the raptors' faces. He goes, dinosaurs.
This might be my favorite Evil Eye moment ever, honestly.
It's very satisfying. It has a lot of the same energy as Denji getting out of the aquarium and being like, penguins! Penguin! It's that same, I'm just gonna come out of a very different situation and just be so excited by the animal in front of me. And I just love how this one raptor just has to kind of be like, it'll kill me if I don't behave. So I just gotta be a house cat right now.
I think that the Evil Eye has never acted more like a little kid, which I greatly appreciate here. Just to be like, a dinosaur! That's it.
Very much so.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Good chapter, and I'm excited to honestly see Ira take on the Clown Sniper, which is a weird sentence to say, but it should be a cool fight when we get it.
Please get rid of it soon. Please.
Yes.
I don't like looking at it. All right, Spy Family, Quinn. Mission 137. Lloyd is in the hospital after the very stressful pizza party that he was at, which made him have stomach ulcers and stuff. He even had blood loss and everything. So he is he's up in the hospital. He's getting some IV fluids and stuff. Fiona is there along with the doctor. And he's just like, I can't believe I was admitted to my own hospital. I've got to go and report on the pizza party incident later. And Fiona's like, just relax. You were lucky to have survived.
She's like, please don't do this.
But he's like, oh, there's an symposium today, and there are so many neurologists that are supposed to be there, and his body won't allow him to get out of the bed. So Fiona is again just like, you have overworked yourself. If it's worth it investigating, I will look into it. I assume that you're interested in connections between Professor Althan's old medical group and Donovan. And he says yes. He admits that the connections are thin, but says it's worth pursuing. But before Fiona can go to act on that, Anya and Yor come to visit Lloyd in the hospital. And, Yor just looks at Fiona and is like, oh, hello again. Doesn't think anything of her. Of course, Fiona's like, I hate her. I hate that bitch. I hate her. Anya has the great question of, did they replace your stomach with one made of steel? Asking the important questions here.
I like how Lloyd's like, if they did, I'd be dead. that's how metal stomachs usually work. And Frankie's over in the corner, like One Piece Frankie, I guess I should clarify. It's like, not always.
Yor's clearly worried about Lloyd, especially because he keeps on collapsing at the end of all these, really stressful incidents. And Fiona looks at Yor, looking worried, and thinks to herself, how dare you make that face? Do you not understand? It's your uselessness that he works so hard. I'm the only one who can support him. We should revisit my Neo's Tricks proposal, which Twilight never officially ruled out. Grasping at the straw.
Not officially off the table.
Anya reads her mind, and it's like, oh no, she still hasn't given up. It just turns on her like a wild animal. Grr. You're a stranger I don't like. So Fiona thinks, I must placate this brat. Do you want some sweets? And Anya's like, yum, sweets. Grr. Afterwards.
I love that I don't know if she's smart enough that she's figured out that if she pretends like if she takes the treat, she'll and then gets angry afterwards, she'll get another one. I really like the idea she's just so dim that she's like, grr, candy, grr. Like she doesn't have a mode in between those two thoughts.
She's not smart enough to connect, oh, this person is being nice to me and giving me candy. So
yeah.
It's like, she doesn't read this as a bribe. Fiona, because Fiona is just like, is she not sated? Here, have one more. Candy. Grr. And Yor's like, Anya, don't eat too much candy. And Fiona's like, is she seeing through my strategy to placate this child?
Damn, she's running counter interference to my plans.
It is so wild to see anyone in the main trio as being the more sensible person in the room.
Every so often you forget how dumb the side cast of Spy Family is, and we're like, oh yeah, I guess every so often our lead characters have to seem competent in comparison to them.
So Fiona gets paranoid that Yor is going to say to Lloyd that she thinks it's weird that she's trying to get close to her. So Fiona goes on this whole entire thing like, I can't allow Twilight to perceive me in a romantic context. There's nothing I would want more, but I can't allow it. I need to support his dream of peace between East and West as a trusted comrade. Now, at some point in the future, but not yet. Or am I just making excuse for my own shyness? There's no reason that while monitoring the situation between East and West we could. Oh, that would be too embarrassing. And Anya just sums it up by saying, yeah, she's got issues, which it seems, you got it, So she's got to go and address things at the symposium, but Fiona thinks if I am able to perform this properly, then maybe Wise will support my proposal to replace your Briar. And Anya, of course, senses this and thinks oh no, she's going to replace Mama if I let this happen. I have to do something. So she goes out the door by saying, I forgot to thank the tennis lady for sweets. What a scoundrel I am. Just takes off after. I love that she refers to Fiona as the tennis lady. I would too, after the first encounter with her, where Yor nearly killed that woman. So
it's also music too, because you have to think of it how long ago was the tennis thing for you guys? For us it was a while, but it's also got to be a decent amount of time ago too. So I like the idea of this little girl being oh, I gotta go get the tennis lady. You have to be when did we play tennis?
Lloyd tries to get up to go after Anya, but his stomach ain't allowing that, so Yor goes off to try to find her. Fiona comes to an older woman and who is working as a clerk there. Says oh, can I take over clerical duties for the symposium? And there's this little moment where the older woman just says, here, have a piece of candy, dear, and just gives her a piece of candy. And I just kind of look at that and go, is this symbolic of something? Is there something going on here? Like,
or do adults in this country just know they can placate children if they just give them candy? So like every adult's just like, this kid's really bugging me. You want a piece of candy?
well, she gives it to Fiona though. She doesn't give it to Anya. So that's what I'm just looking at is like, huh? Does she realize like how emotionally immature Fiona is? Is there something else going on? It just seemed like a weird little detail to include. Anyhow, the point of this is so that Fiona has more candy on her, so when Anya starts tailing her, she can distract her with the candy and get away, which is very amusing because Anya reacts like a fucking cat, just like, candy, oh boy, nom, nom, nom. And then by the time she looks up, Fiona has disappeared and she can't track her any further. So Fiona does get away from Anya and is no longer has that tail, at least for the time being. The dickhead doctor that we occasionally have seen working at the hospital shows up and is like, "Oh, my fair Fiona, don't I look handsome today?" And she just doesn't like turn around to acknowledge him, and he immediately starts going, "You're a doctor, man. Calm down." So she knows, like, I've got to make sure that Twilight's in this guy's good graces, so I'll pretend to be nice to him. Basically.
I'll pretend like I don't hate this guy.
So she makes a conversation with him, and the doctor mentions he's not going to the symposium because the previous hospital director will be instead, which Fiona thinks is very interesting. And she's like, "Oh, the former director Sergei came up in his conversation with Alton. I wonder if there's something going on here." She checks, the list of all the attendees for this and is like, "I don't see Mr. Sergei on here. Why is that?" And the doctor says, "Oh no, maybe he just happened to drop by." And like, I don't think he's gone to the hall. His car's still in the garage, so he's probably still in the hospital. And he, for no reason, says, "It's a hard car to miss. A 1958 T603. I'd love to take you out in a classic car like that one day." And of course, Fiona's just like, "All right, bye." And just bails on him immediately because she's got the relevant information. And this pathetic asshole is just like, "She just thanked me," because that's all he cares about. I don't like this character.
He sucks, and I think that's intentional. But I do wonder if there's meant to be a longer purpose to like a larger goal for this character, or if it's just meant to be like, yeah, you know what, Lloyd works with some dickheads too. Like it's just how it works.
Anya gives us our heartbreaking panel of the chapter because she's lost and upset. Help this poor girl.
I don't like this
she's
page.
4 and has to do advanced math. So some nurses come by and they recognize her as Dr. Forger's daughter, and they're like, "Oh, are you here to visit your daddy? Do you want me to take you to his room?" And Anya's like, "No, I want to go to the administration. And they're, of course, both like, "What? What are you saying?" They're like, "Would you like some candy?" And she's like, "No, I learned my lesson. Sweets are my downfall."
She does learn, at least.
One of the nurses realizes she wants to be taken to the administration building, and so they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we'll show you the way." And "Did your daddy send you?" And Anya says, "Yeah, he told me to stay with the one-eyed lady." Like, does she mean Miss Frost? So Anya is being taken to Fiona's location, presumably, but Fiona is out in the garage. She is investigating the very helpfully identified car that Dr. Gory told her about. She realizes, like, the car's been here at most an hour because the engine's still warm. So he is still in the hospital. He doesn't seem to have made contact with the staff. Maybe he's in the director's office. Maybe he's in a VIP room. I got to find him, but maybe I can ask, someone. And then she realizes, am I being watched? I don't know what's going on. No, multiple people are paying attention to me. And she looks over her shoulder and she sees that there are a bunch of bodyguards at armored cars. And she thinks, well, I mean, there's nothing like unusual about a member of parliament or a bureaucrat being at the symposium. But so maybe they're worth checking out. And so she just kind of like, stops at the door and she just kind of checks out of the corner of her eye and she recognizes the license plate that one of the vehicles belongs to the Desmond family. And so she at first thinks like, maybe Melinda Desmond's here, but she's not on the schedule. So it would hardly be out of character for her to come, though, without an appointment if she's trying to make it. No, 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 no. Look at the size of the security detail. And just as she realizes that, out of the car steps Donovan Desmond, making a very sudden and unexpected appearance in the manga.
This was a very cool surprise, mostly because we know already that Lloyd's like out. He can't really be involved in this arc, and Yor's also not seemingly super involved. And the idea of Nightfall having to kind of handle this is very surprising because this is the guy. This is the dude they have been trying to find. So I'm very intrigued for what they're going to try to get out of this, and it'll be interesting to see how Nightfall gets through here. It's yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Spy Family isn't this type of series, but this has the kind of smell of it, of like a chapter where a supporting character encounters the final boss so that they can die to show you how strong they are.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this isn't that sort of series, but that would be like wild. Is like like we just like wacky Anya hijinks, and then the next chapter just ends with like Nightfall's corpse in the parking lot. And I'm like, Jesus.
All right, y'all. We are gonna talk Animal Signal, adding it to the recap in place of Hima 10. We didn't talk about it, last chapter, but this has been a very episodic series. Look, it was a Q chapter last week. It's another Q chapter this week. We'll see if there are like any relevant details that happen to come up from last time, but I don't really think so.
They don't bring up
Chapter
that she was a maid or anything, so I think we're good.
Right. Chapter 5, rabbits can leap almost 6 meters far. Kone is hanging out at her favorite cafe, drinking coffee, and she's like, "Oh yes, another coffee, ma'am. I'll have it black." And the server comes over and is like, "It took her forever to be able to handle black coffee, and now she just won't shut up about how she drinks it all the time."
I really do enjoy that she's like a teenager, and she has reached a slight level of maturity, and she won't shut the fuck up about it.
I drink black coffee because I'm so mature and competent, yes.
Yeah, and like even in that opening panel, she's drawn to almost look like she's like sophisticated and like older a little bit. And it's like, girl, you're just drinking coffee. Like just leave this poor lady alone.
And she's just like playing and being an adult, basically. Yeah. But as she is drinking her coffee and just saying aloud for no reason, "This black coffee really is..." She spots Tsubasa out the door with Mizuzaki, who is the rabbit person in the department that they're part of, who kind of like gives them their missions and stuff, and just fully spit takes all of her coffee right in the service.
The only way I can assume it is that she started serving her cold coffee because she just didn't like her, because otherwise this woman would have with like second-degree burns.
She spits it like a fucking fish. It's ridiculous. And of course, immediately, Kokone is like, "Why is Tsubasa on his day off spending time with Mizuzaki? No! I'm going to use my ability to listen to her thoughts." And immediately, like, a little angel on her shoulder shows up, and it's like, "You can only use your ability for 3 minutes. Don't waste your ability." And Kokone goes, "My logic, angel." So Kokone is me like, "I know, but I'm weak." And so she immediately just goes to the window, listens to Tsubasa's thoughts. He's just, for some reason, thinking about ring-tailed lemurs for like no reason.
Just as you do, Sometimes you're walking down the street and you just like, God, I can't stop thinking about lemurs again.
Yeah, how they like, they do sunbathing, and it's like how a class does morning calisthenics reps together, and it's very cute. And Kone's like, "I don't actually know what's going on because he's just thinking the exact same stuff he always does." The server looks out the window, is like, "What are you looking at?" "Oh, it's your partner, and he's with a girl." "Oh," and Kokona's like, "I don't care. I just remember something. I have to go." So she darts outside, and it's like, oh, okay. Well, they're probably just, running off. They probably just ran into each other. Doesn't matter. So it was 5 chapters before Taishi Jitsui decided, yeah, jeans can do that. So like, all right. But as Kokone is walking down the road, she happens to look down an alley, and Mizuzaki is being held by Tsubasa. Oh, and she's looking very, very hot into the collar. What's going on here? So Kokone brushes over, and Tsubasa's like, oh, I happened to run to Miss Suzaki earlier, and she's not feeling well, so I'm going with her to the clinic. And Mizuzaki confesses that she forgot to restock her daily meds, and she's going to the clinic. She was managing okay, but then she started to feel weak and woozy. And Kokone is like, oh, okay. Well, I'll help too then. But Tsubasa says, oh, you shouldn't come too close. Mizuzaki's body has a high ratio of animal-like features. Her rabbit traits show up easily. Without her medicine, she can't suppress her instincts. And immediately, racist-ass Kokone is like...
Yeah, I guess a little bit. I do like, they don't suggest it, but I guess it really does just rely on the knowledge that everyone's like, rabbits breed very
a lot,
excessively or whatever.
Yes.
And that, like, again, they don't bring it up in this chapter, but that's immediately where her mind clearly is going to.
Yep, she thinks about those rabbit boobs and is like, oh my gosh, she's going to seduce Tsubasa. And Mizuzaki's like, I don't think I can hold back anymore. And immediately Kokona's like, no, don't do it. And Uzaki just rears back and punches Tsubasa right in the solar plexus. And Tsubasa explains, yeah, see, what I meant is rabbits are timid by nature, but when they feel territorial or scared, they fight. And so Mizuzaki's medicine is worn off, and she's just getting really defensive. And Uzaki, meanwhile, is just, really?
Yeah, she's just going like full like gum gattling on Tsubasa at this point, who is a brick wall. He is standing completely still and not being pushed back.
And he warns Kokone because, rabbits, they're muscular under their fluffy fur and stuff. So Kokone is like, are you okay? And he says, yeah. Their muscles are mostly in their legs. And meanwhile, he's actually like using cute animal facts so that he doesn't think about the pain. Uzaki manages to calm down and get a hold of herself. They go to the clinic. They almost get there. When suddenly, gasp, some sort of cheetah purse snatcher is at work. And so they spot a robbery in progress. Tsubasa says, well, cheetahs can run fast and burst, but they can't run for long distances. We might be able to stop him when he catches his breath. But Kokone says, well, how are we going to keep up with him for that short burst, though? And Mizuzaki is like, leave it to me. And she is surging with Dragon Ball Z power and says, yeah, I got this. Let's go. Picks them both up under her arms and springs off after them. Very pleased with herself. We get more animal facts about what great jumpers rabbits are. They can jump 15 meters directionally, which is insane. 15 meters with human proportions, I should say. So, and Uzaki has no direction whatsoever. She's just like going.
She's just going in a direction.
But Kokone analyzes the situation and says, well, Tsubasa said he couldn't run for very long. The cheetah would know that too, which means he'll head for somewhere to hide. He's got to be close, like that busy shopping street coming up. So Uzaki heads in that direction. The cheetah, Anima, that purse snatcher, is running, thinking he's gotten away, and Uzaki just catches up and is right next to him. Tsubasa's not doing great because he's just got the G's blowing his cheeks back and stuff. But Tsubasa warns the cheetah Anima, did you know that rabbits propel themselves forward with the sheer strength of their hind legs? Those punches I received are nothing compared to what's coming for you. And he has enough time to go, huh?
What?
And Uzaki just knees him in the cheek.
I'm trying to even figure out the direction of this kick, but yeah, it's like a roundhouse knee or something. It seems absolutely brutal.
Bomaye, and knocks him into the fucking pavement. They return the purse that was snatched, and so hooray. And Uzaki congratulates Kokone because, she was the one who gave them the direction in order to do this. Kokone also is like, oh, you're the MVP today, though. And Uzaki says, "I'm so glad," and she goes to quote unquote pat Kokone on the head, but it's being delivered like a chop. And Tsubasa pushes Kokone out of the way and takes it himself and smashes into the bricks below him.
It buries him up to his torso in the ground. So, like, even before when he was like, oh, these punches don't hurt, Rabbit's power is mostly in their legs, this was the force she was hitting him with.
Yeah, and Uzaki is just kind of like going yee as we end our chapter. So we learned a little bit more about Uzaki, Quinn.
Yeah. Nice. And you know what's great about this chapter, Nick? It's that all the people out there were like, carrot for Straw Hat, carrot for Straw Hat. They could just read this series and know she's going to be more relevant here. Like, you basically have her here. So, except she's never going to be a Straw Hat, but she is a member of the Animal Control Center. So that's good.
I mean, if you just add a little bit more dramatic backstory, she would basically be Carrot. Carrot did not have a chance to distinguish herself as a unique character before we said goodbye to her.
Remember that one scene where she drew the Straw Hats as Bishonen characters? That was pretty cool.
No,
or shoujo characters? Oh, well, sorry.
Cannon Master, Chapter 3, The Master's Power. So Brachus is using his wind stuff to redirect the attacks of the robot. And so redirecting stuff, says, you have the ability to divert the Regulus cannon fire. Yep. You can also use your powers multiple times over. I can't control my ability very well, so guide my attacks to the Regulus core. So they're going to work together on this. Yep. And so Brachus is like, oh man, my apprentice believes in me. When he looks at me like that, it's do or die trying. So he uses his ability to redirect stuff, combines it together with power. They kind of trade off using the magic whistle thing to do both spells. Blasts it, and it with his guidance, it goes and twists around and goes straight through the Regulus core. Boom, blows it up. And then afterwards, he's like, oh man, it worked. Yep. Quinn, I don't understand the point of this character being this way.
At first it was like, oh, this gimmick just doesn't really work. And then you're like, I just think maybe the author doesn't know what they're doing. We kind of said it, I think, the first week. We're like, there's a lot of interesting world building, but this definitely has a novice feel or something. But I don't understand what they're trying to go for. It just doesn't work for me.
Brachus was a 90s German wrestler. Barat is this guy's name. Sorry. Barat is surprised that this worked.
You notice how no one corrected you, though? Not a single person was like, Nick, actually, it's
Barat. The leader of the village that they helped out is like, oh, I really doubted you, but you sure took care of that Regolith. Take your pick of whatever reward you desire. And says, what about a parade and celebration of my master? And Barat's like, that is unnecessary. Just use whatever reward you could have given me to what? For their recovery efforts. So he's also not a selfish guy.
No, they didn't give him any flaws.
He just is kind of a coward internally. That's just he's not even accidentally solving the problems with the Regulus they encounter. He's very competent. He's just not as strong as and feels a little bit worried by that. I don't know what's going on here. He says that he's just content in having protected Tawat's beautiful scenery, and there is actually a very nice landscape shot that shows all sorts of cool buildings and carvings in the mountains and stuff like that. The leader of the village says, I can't figure you out! You and me both, man. So Barat's like, you could even become my successor and rule after me. And he's like, I couldn't accept that. Bah, 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 bah. And says, well, I've had an inkling, master. To not worry me, you've been glossing over the fact that the power awakened in me is abnormal. I don't really understand this new ability I have, but for what we just accomplished, I know this. Tons of people out in the world need your abilities, master. I accepted this as a job because I knew you could handle it. Without your abilities, no one else could have protected this city. And Barat's like, oh, you exaggerate. He's like, no, he doesn't. You literally coordinated the attack that destroyed the Regolith. Is your thing that you have low self-esteem? If so, we need to explore that more. 3 chapters ago.
Do we need to explore it? I don't know. I think maybe we just let it be, and I don't know. You have 16 more chapters of shenanigans than the Adventure Stuff.
Anyway, says that Barad is the hero of the Land of the Sand, and he believes in him, and he says, I'll use my new power to help expand your influence. And Barad's like, oh, he's such a good kid. Oh. And then he thinks, I'm not capable of accomplishing anything great, but it's true that initiative helped to save this town. And most importantly, and the leader's like, hey, you deserve credit too. And it's like, yes, yeah, but we get it. But Barad is like, I understand now that I need to stop being scared of strength. Was he scared of strength? It didn't feel like he was scared of strength. He directed him to use it twice. Then he looks to and he says, let's work together. We'll handle this our own way. You and me, master and apprentice. Is all in on that. And then the leader's like, all right, then. Well, I have a nephew in the central region who is a Slayeth, and I'll put in a good word for you because they want to scout people for an upcoming campaign. And accepts on Barad's behalf. But the leader of the village warns them, you should be warned. They are going after a regolith above threat level 3. In all likelihood, one of the remaining demons is involved. Not only were the demons our foes in the war, but they also created the regoliths. Originally, the regoliths were used as weaponry the demons would control from within. Okay.
All right.
Good to know that now.
Well, we've spent enough time kind of playing the sandbox with all these level 2s. It was time to ramp things up here in Chapter 3.
I don't know if this is a Chapter 10 development or a Chapter 1 development, Quinn. It's not a Chapter 3 one, though.
There was a moment of reading this chapter where I was like, oh, like they must have gotten back the feedback that's like, oh, this story's kind of boring. Let's like kick it up. And I'm like, it's Chapter 3. They wouldn't have gotten any feedback yet. Like this would still be like when the chapters are like being shipped off to a printer at this point or whatever. Like, I don't know. I wonder if there was a little bit of like editor confusion on like what direction to kind of give this series, and they were like, oh, I guess we'll just start kicking it in a different gear or something.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I can tell you one thing though, it's just not doing it for me, and don't really care to talk about it no more.
Yeah, this is the third chapter of Canon Master. Every week since this has debuted, I have almost forgotten to read the series. And every time, as soon as I finish reading it, it like just it vanishes from my mind as though it never existed at all. So no, I don't have any interest in continuing this. I have nothing against this author. I think this author's art is really good, and I think given more time, this could be I think they could produce a really good work. I just think this series lacked a strong like cohesion and hook to keep you interested. And without that, I just don't really know what to get invested in.
Yeah. There's not, it's another kind of series where you have, a kind of fantasy fight against monsters thing, which is not bad, but it doesn't feel like it has a unique element, and it's kind of hard to actually figure out what the point of things is, because there's this whole thing about and stuff, but it really feels like he has been underplayed in order to better establish the actual protagonist of the series more. And Barat's kind of boring as fuck. So all the best of luck. But no, I'm not going to read it. No.
Yeah, best of luck. We will not be talking about it in the recap going forward. Sorry, everybody, if you were huge, for all the Canaanites out there.
Canaanites? Oh, no, they have a name already.
Oh, so I know.
Oh, man.
Well, they were going to name them after the main character, but they can't remember it, so.
I can't remember his name. All right. Let's go over to Kinato's Magic, which after next week will probably be like the third most romantic series in Jump, I think.
Yeah, this has got to stick around. We don't have any more romance series in the magazine.
Kinato's Magic Chapter 22, Connected Power. Yes, that's right. Tarasu has said that they need to use the Fushikaren, a martial arts dance for 2, in order to get enough magic power to defeat Sazaku. And she says, we're going to synchronize with one another and hone their mana. Physical abilities grow stronger. Supposedly. She's just, this is all theoretical. She's never done this before. So Kinato says, like, well, how do we even do that? And Terasa says, well, we dance, like with the makarenge while we hold hands. And she looks down at her Hinata's hand that she's holding and like realizes she's been holding his hand and starts to blush. So Sasuke starts to attack them. Tarasu leads the way and says, I will guide you through the attacks. Concentrate. We must refine our mana together. It, of course, is very difficult for them to move, and Kinato starts to freak out a bit, but Tarasu says, hey, don't think, just feel me. And they start to get in sync quite quickly. Sasuke realizes, like, their movements are a lot more precise. Uh-oh, better throw chunks of building at them. But Tarasu and Kinato are in sync. Kinato can feel the flow of her mana, the rhythm of her pulse, everything about her. And they dance through debris, a heartbeat shared between the two of us. At this point, Kinato can even see where weak points in Sasuke's body are, and he uses his Seitai magic relaxation on her. And it's not fully defeated her. Like it does strip away a lot of the Amrita on her body, but Sasuke manages to kick up the ground beneath them and knock them away. And then her body just starts to like react and just develop outer shells and stuff like the twins that Kinato encountered on the bridge before. And Sasuke's like, I don't understand you people. What value is there in any relationship other than survival of the fittest? You can only have a relationship with others once you've proven your true strength. The strong rise to the top. That is the inevitable truth of this world. And Kinato counters by saying, I don't believe the power should be used to control others. I didn't come here to learn how to hurt others. I came because I believe magic is a power that should be used to help others. Acceptance comes from being trusted. No one will open their heart to you unless you reach out to understand them. A relationship based solely on power is nothing but pure control. And I'll show you the true value of power by setting you straight. So again, I'm going to fix you. Sasuke jumps in, manages to grab both of them by the neck and starts to slam them into the ground. And she says to Tarasu, look at how far you have fallen. But, but the fact that you have like grabbed the two of them means that Kinato's close enough to touch you. So you done fucked up. And they're still holding hands, the hussies. So they're also still coordinated. And as they're all falling down together, Tarasu says to Sasuke, you got it wrong. I'm not staking anything on him. I trust him from the bottom of my heart. And Kinato realizes that the mana in Sasuke's outer shell is trembling. He feels the feeling of failure burned into my body. If you miscalculate the Makarenge's mana output, the mana explodes. So what if I intentionally force it to fail? And he causes a big burst of mana that knocks them away from each other. So Sasuke is knocked off balance, and now Kinato has an opening. He focuses his magic into one point, and together he and Tarasu lunge forward. The relaxation magic hits Sasuke in the torso, and all of the Amrita just immediately melts off of her in one blow. As she falls, Sasuke thinks to herself, in my entire time as the Majo, I thought the only way to make someone accept you was by displaying your power. So what is this warm feeling? I'm starting to feel so calm, almost like I'm being embraced by overwhelming maternal energy, which also makes me naked. But let's not talk about that.
It's like Sailor Moon, Nick. You're not really supposed
very
to...
Sailor Moon.
Yeah,
yes.
You're not really supposed to think about the nudity. It's evocative and imaginative.
Yeah. And the announcer declares that, wow, the battle's over. And Sky Captain Dragon Sasuke is knocked out, which means the winners are Kinato and Lady Tarasu. So apparently that was like the threshold of points that both of them needed, I guess. So
yeah, so that'd be great if some like young up and comer just walks by and is like, "Oh, sweet, there he is!" Just chops Kanato's heads off while he's tired. They're like, "I got him! Don't see everybody? I killed the man who was infecting our leader." I haven't been able to watch the screen in a little bit, but
we all hate this guy, right?
Yeah, we still hate him, right? I got that vibe a couple minutes ago. And I took a phone call, obviously, so I missed a couple things.
Yeah, battle over. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, I thought this was a really cool chapter. Double arts ruled. This series, when it's doing double arts, also it rules. And I like Kinato's little speech about just like, look, I'm gonna fix you again. Like, I'll show you that power by turning you straight. And I also love them paying off every time my mana gets too wild, it causes an explosion. And he's like, I'm going to use that offensively. I'm intentionally going to fail and blow away all of our armor. It's cool stuff.
It did also really feel like, hey, the important character that was introduced as a supporter of Kinato in this arc, like, played like a big role and worked together with him in a way that felt very satisfying and worked with all the buildup and stuff. So this was just like very solid shonen storytelling.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I don't have high expectations for the series lasting too much longer, but
it is dead last in rankings. Yes,
it has been for a while, but I liked it. Good chapter.
Oh, but someone out there right now hurts.
Oh no,
Quinn.
Not you, Nick.
No, I'm fine.
Oh, okay.
Chapter 40, a fight with your belt. Mizuo and Mime are in class, and Mime hears something interesting coming from Mizuo, and he realizes that her stomach is growling like crazy. And Mime's like, it's the first class of the afternoon, Mizuo. Why are you so hungry? And people behind him are like, what the hell, Mime? Why is your stomach growling so much? And he's like, it's not me. And then he realizes that Mizuo is like turned behind him and is like, don't. And so Mime is like, sorry. Mizuo at the end of class apologized to Mime for, kind of like getting him into hot water and stuff. And she says, yeah, I was really busy with my student duties, so I forgot to buy a bun for lunch. And then she gets a text from Mokomo, who tells them that, like, yeah, there's an all-you-can-eat place. If you can get your meal for free. Do you want to come and hit there after school? So wouldn't you know it, Mizuo going on empty stomach. Perfect timing. Mm-hmm. So they meet up with Mokomo and with Rei, who are there together. So Mokomo is just observed that in their time together, they're like, yeah, Mizuo, you really eat a lot when you're around us. So we figured it would be great to have you around. So Mime thinks to himself, however, that this is kind of awkward because, Rei was like, he was going all out in the rookie round, and so I feel kind of sorry for him. And Rei looks at him like, you're feeling like this is awkward because you beat me in the rookie round, don't you? Just immediately calls him out. And Mokomo is being like, Rei, stop being mean. So the four of them all sit down together, and they're going to have the original giant burger, which is a 4-kilogram hamburger, which is like 9 pounds.
That's a lot of burger.
That 2 people can eat together.
Okay. That's not so bad.
If you can't finish it, you have to pay 5,000 yen, which is like $35, I want to say, somewhere in that realm.
There was a moment where I was watching them because they're all like, I can't fail this. I did what's going to motivate me more is the necessity that I can't lose. And I was like, that's not that expensive. You guys can do it. And I was like, all right, they're high schoolers. They have no money. Never mind. This actually makes a lot more sense.
There is a story that John Cena has told about when he was, way before he got famous and everything, where he was like, yeah, I was just bodybuilding and stuff and I had no money. So I would not eat at all. And then I went to this pizza place that was like, oh, if you eat the whole pizza, then you get it for free. So he's like, I'm this giant guy who doesn't eat anything all day. So I came in, eat the whole pizza for free. And then I show up the next day to do it. And the guy's like, okay, look, if you need something, you can sweep up for me and I'll give you some food and stuff. And he way better and more believable story than The Rock's I had $5 in my pocket or whatever the fuck, Anyway, so Mimei realized like this is kind of like a hefty fee for us, you know, because like they are in high school, you know. But Mizuo's like, you're trying to run away. This is a fight against your belt. And he's like, don't you mean a fight against yourself? The the server says to all of them, aren't you guys all high schoolers? You should contact your parents before doing this because otherwise you might ruin your appetite and they'll be disappointed.
Well, I love that he's like, you guys are going to need to call your parents before the challenge. And they're so confused. And he's like, you know, because you might not have an appetite for dinner. They're all like, oh, yeah, good point.
Oh, yeah. All everyone gets on their phones. But Mimei's like, I mean, you might gain like weight if you eat this much. And Mokumo's like, this is only 5,000 kilocalories. So if we assume that a male high schooler's weight is 60 kilograms, you'll need at least 10 hours of jogging to burn it off. And everyone's like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And Mokumo's like, I'm really good at math. It's like, all right, I like her now. Cool. So,
now you're Nick's favorite character. You enjoy math.
A math person? Yes. A math person who's not shown to be a nerdy freak? Yes. So they are presented with a burger that looks like it weighs more than advertised. This thing is so big.
I think a lot of that is the perspective of the shot, but it does. God damn, you never played Persona 5. Anyways, for any of you hand, it's like when they give you a Big Bang burger and you're like, this thing's bigger than my head. I'm supposed to eat this in like an hour?
So they start to all chow down. Mimei looks over at Mizuo and is like, oh, Mizuo's, you know, like got no problem. She's always, you know, like super, she's still hungry right now and stuff. And then she suddenly goes, there's a spicy part here. And that has stopped her dead in her tracks. She needs to go and like cool off after getting the spicy region. And yeah, if you ever do an eating contest, like I remember there was an entire section on Man vs. Food of like, this is a spicy challenge. I forget the amount. It's the amount of spice that you have to go through because when you have spicy food, your entire body is just kind of like, no more, please.
Maybe for you cowards out there, some of us can handle the heat.
Oh, man. Remember when I visited you?
That's immediately what I was thinking about.
Yeah. I was like, let me try a little bit of your spicy. And I was being like, ah!
My mouth is on fire.
I had like 2 noodles. It was so little of this. Oh, yeah. And then you were like, yeah, I always get the spiciest unless they have Indian spicy in them.
Yeah,
like,
no. I know my limit. I'm not insane, but I am able to handle a little bit more spice than that.
I was having one of those reactions that was like, why do people do this to themselves? Oh, man. That was a great trip. Anyway, Mimei and Ray are thus left on their own because they've paired off where the guy and girl of each pair are each handling a burger. So each of them is still trying to handle the burger in their partner's absence. And Ray notes to him like, hey, by the way, while they're just like taking massive forkfuls of burgers.
I want to get a burger in Japan so freaking bad because I can't even comprehend the idea of cutting off small sections of burger and eating with a fork. I'm like, did they just make them different? They don't make them like sloppy messes where the moment you touch it, it kind of just falls apart structurally.
And Ray says, you've been getting read on the air on Monday, but you've been listening and sending in entries for like 3 years, right? And Mimei admits, I mean, I only sent in like 1 entry a week during those. And Ray says, I couldn't do that. You're kind of weird. I mean, I got praise from the Long Hopes, even though I was doing everything for Mokomo-chan. How does it feel to focus your efforts on one thing like that? And Mimei starts to answer, but then he realizes like, oh no, my stomach is actually full. Which is a thing that happens. For any of you out there who eat responsibly and chew your food and stuff, this does happen. Where your body will like tell your brain, late, you're full.
Yeah. Oh no, dude, stop. Oops, I wasn't paying attention. Go back.
It has happened to Ray as well, so they're both like, oh no, I can't anymore. And Mimei's just like, I can't finish off the last bit. But then Mizuo comes in, tag me in. It's just fully face shows Mimei out of the way. I got this. and manages to set her fork down just as they hit time.
She's also comedically ballooned up, like she's
love this face so much.
Like she's the blueberry girl from Willy Wonka. Like she's gained like 100 pounds just of pure width.
Someone has just inflated her like a fucking balloon. And server comes by. All right, Mime and Mitsuo have passed. Mokumo and Rei have failed. They have what looks to be like a slider-sized chunk of hamburger left that they just didn't get through, unfortunately. It was like one more bite. So they each have to shovel out 2,500 yen. And he walks out.
She's just an orb. Like, you might as well roll her down the street.
But because she has the metabolism of a 15-year-old, the next panel back to normal. The two of them won gift cards and stuff, which, as a result of taking on the burger challenge and winning, Mizuo's like, oh, what kind of want some like headphones for making calls while I listen to the radio? And Rei's like, why do you want headphones? Why would you want to do that? You know, you can't even do that on your phone at the same time because like the radio would disable your call and vice versa. And Mizuo says, oh, I've got a radio. I'll be fine. And Rei's like, you bought one just so you can make calls? And Mime's like, well, no, like on the radio app. And then he realizes in that moment something that we as the audience knew when it was happening, that because he took Mizuo's advice and had got a separate radio, Rei was suffering from the lag in all the prompts, whereas Mime was answering things in a much more timely manner. So he looks down at the gift cards. He kind of has a little private little conversation with Mizuo, and they're like, oh, you guys wait here. And they go off and come back, and they present Mokumo and Rei with matching radios.
Mime's such a good freaking bean. Come on.
And he just straight up tells Rei, like, hey, radio apps have a lag, so I think that you were listening a little behind on the live broadcast. And Mokumo's got one too. And Mizuo's like, yeah, sorry for like, you know, you had to like escort me out of the building and stuff. And Rei starts to think about the time, like he's like reacting to that. And Mokumo's just like, hey, say thank you.
Yep.
And, you know, she says like, hey, look, you're always aligning your interests with mine. But if you want to do what you want to do, I'll cheer you on. And Rei's like, I'll pay you back for this. And also, I'll get payback one day.
Aww.
And Mizuo in a little... I forgot about this little moment. She says, hey, if you guys don't have any money, I could put in a word for you for a good part-time job. They'll make you wear weird clothes, though.
The worst pitch of all time, they're saying.
Yeah. Makes it sound worse than it is, honestly. Anyhow. So, yeah, they part ways. Mime and Mizuo go off together. And Mizuo says, like, you know, this is nice. Thanks for coming out with me. We were even able to meet TV announcer Shinichiro Azumi. And Mime's like, when was he around? But Mizuo just says, you're pretty good, Mime. You made a new rival on your own. And then we just check in like on the next session of Mon Mid, and everyone's got their little radios together. And Rei realizes, wait a minute, I've got a matching item with Mokumo-chan. Is Mime messing with me?
Yeah, I love this moment. He's like, that scumbag, he's making fun of me.
That asshole's trying to play wingman for me. What a fucking awesome chapter. I love this one.
Yeah.
This is cute and funny.
It's very cute, but unfortunately it did make me very hungry for a big cheeseburger, so I can only give it a 2 out of 10. So that's just how it goes.
Feel hungry.
Yeah, I'm really hungry. I can't go higher than that.
Ultimate Essence Kiyoshi, Chapter 99, Newborn Cross Paladin. Kiyoshi declares to Utsugi after having fended off 1,000 spears, I'm choosing my own path. And a whole bunch of people are like, wait, he's saying he's going to protect demons? What the hell? And Utsugi asks of him, like, are you really not going to bend on this? You think being a cross paladin means just everyone's going to accept your opinion? And Kiyoshi says, yes. And Utsugi steps forward. He's got a new spear in his hands, and he says, you are totally right. You got me there. And he lets out a big laugh. And he looks at all the damage that has been caused by their scuffle, and he says, let's just say this was all a bit of good fun. And everyone's like, this guy sucks. He's such an asshole. Utsugi says that he can't see eye to eye with Kiyoshi, but he says, I can admire a guy with the spirit to stand firm in his convictions and not flinch. Now what that conviction will change is up to you to prove to me. But that said, if you go over to the demon side, I will kill you. And then Sakaki looks to Utsugi and says, you were testing him the entire time? And Utsugi goes, as if. I really hate kids who just spout idealistic nonsense. But I figured if a guy like him did become a cross paladin, it might be kind of fun. And we get a little shot of Kiyoshi surrounded by his friends who are, worried for him and stuff. And Utsugi also notes it's kind of like a certain someone from back in the day. But he does note it's not going to be easy. He'll come for Kiyoshi sooner or later. But Sakaki assures him, don't worry, Kiyoshi is strong, and he's got me. So Utsugi starts to go off and make his cool exit, and the headmaster stops him and is like, you think you could just leave after saying some cool stuff, you little asshole?
You really broke a lot of things here.
You're gonna clean this up, mister. Megumi is like, oh, that sure is a fine fellow. I'm starting to change my mind on him. He's not as fine as me, though. Gradually liking this guy more and more. He's kind of like the perfect amount of asshole, basically. Whatever. The headmaster says, I declare before God, the commander of Concordia, Utsugi Hijiri, the deputy commander of Concordia, Tsurugi Hijiri, the commander of Kalem, Megumi Tenno, the commander of the Demon Realm Special Forces, Goro Shishido, a member of the Exorcist Association's Naraku branch office, Gates of Hell, Kiyoshi Harai. With these 5, let today mark the birth of a new cross paladin. Cool group shot of the 5 of them together.
It's one of those ones where, like, I wish Tsurugi had, like, a bit more of an interesting design, because, like, everyone else, like, especially Goro and Megumi have very distinctly different designs, and the other 3 are, like, I don't know, guys in suits. But, yeah, it's a cool group shot.
Yeah,
and it
we replace one of them with Kuragane.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, then you'll have an eye patch girl there. Yeah. Not in attendance for Kiyoshi's coronation is Sosuke. And he is, off having done an exorcism. And, he's asked, like, are you sure we shouldn't have gone? And Sosuke's like, what are you talking about? It's no concern of mine if he gets a promotion. Considering his achievements, it's to be expected. Bring it on, Harai. I swear I'll catch up to you. And he's as determined as ever. But we're not done with all the cross-paladin business, as the headmaster reveals to Kiyoshi that now that he has ascended to this level, he is to be given a forbidden holy relic weapon. And so the headmaster says, you know of them, correct? And Kiyoshi says, yeah. The reason they're only permitted to be carried by cross-paladins is obvious. They transcend all natural law. And so Shishido eating the apple thing was his holy relic weapon. And the headmaster says, if used in the wrong way, they could destroy the world. Don't ever forget, these weapons are only entrusted to cross-paladins. That said, you must already possess the strength of a cross-paladin to wield one. And he leads him to the holy relic Spriggan, which has a lot of, like, Lady in the Lake kind of vibes to it. It is, this spring that has a shrine around it, and there is a statue of a woman with big old swords. And she says, if you enter this spring and unleash your precept power, you will be granted your forbidden holy relic weapon, thereby truly becoming a cross paladin. So Kiyoshi takes a breath, dives into the spring, and unleashes his power. Water churns and spins and stills. And Kiyoshi comes out and says, Chairman, nothing happened. He's like, oh no, did I do something wrong? Did I get fired for being a cross paladin on my first day? But the headmaster just strokes his beard and says, I thought this might happen. It is likely that the perfect forbidden holy relic weapon for you already exists in this plane. And Kiyoshi's like, what do you mean? And the headmaster says, go and get it from her. Misogi Harai. And Kiyoshi reacts like, wait, but that's, yes, your grandmother.
Bum, 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 bum. Nick, in case you were curious, the Spriggan is a legendary creature in Cornish folklore. They're like fey little creatures. And interestingly, in popular culture, the anime and toy franchise Beyblade Burst has a Beyblade named Spriggan. This is on the official Wikipedia page, so
really,
yeah, it was worth noting that there is a Beyblade named after it.
Do we need to know anything about the Spriggan 12 or
nope,
or the real Spriggan 12?
Nope, there's actually nothing about the Spriggan 12 in here, just the Beyblade when it comes to anime. So that's pretty good.
That's great. I do look forward to seeing what kind of Bankai quest the Kiyoshi goes on. It's amazing, Quinn, when you don't have a power up for your protagonist 3 times in every arc. They have meaning.
Yeah, it actually seems kind of cool when somebody's about to get them. Yeah, I'm super excited for it. And then we have the Marriagetoxin. I don't know why I wanted to call it New Exorcist. That's up after this.
That's after this, yeah. Chapter 171, as Garo is on his very real and not at all a dream date with Himi. So they are riding the Ferris wheel at this weird-ass amusement park that is supposedly human-powered. And again, like, it doesn't seem like they're generating energy in the way that they're being used.
They're more like used as pieces of infrastructure.
Yeah. It seems like the worst possible thing to do with them. Garo in Himi's hallucination is like really freaking out over the view from the Ferris wheel, but she thinks it's really cute. And then she says to him, hey, come on, scoot over a bit. And she kind of shoulders him over and so that they can take a selfie because she's got a little acrylic stand of the DJ from her favorite band with them. And she's like, hey, don't get the wrong idea. I just wanted a photo with my fave, but there'd be dead space. So I figured I would include you. And it is actually a very cute photo that she manages to get on her phone.
I love that in this universe, they live together. He comes home and literally quote unquote pins her down every day, but she's
literally pins her down.
Yeah.
And apparently does nothing after that.
But she's so tsundere where she's just like, don't get the wrong idea. It's not like I wanted you in this picture.
It's not like I like you, husband. Oh man, stay true to yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a commitment to the tsundere bit I haven't really seen too much of.
Himi also notes that, like, oh yeah, that DIY Candy Expo, that was actually pretty interesting and stuff. And Garo says, I had a blast when we went to that haunted house. I'd never been to one before. You're the only one that I can have so much fun with like this. And Himi just kind of like, thinks about like how she, made that kind of like confession of her feelings to herself. And then, however, she thinks of Orishino. And she says, hey, Hikaru, because she's still not used to calling him by his first name, how'd things go with the other girls? And for just a fraction of a second, Garo's face starts to show signs of like being a doll, like the lining of the face cracks open.
Almost makes it look like there's like a tear going down the first time I read it.
And Himi's like, I mean, like Orishino and the others, and he just kind of like puts his hands against the window behind her head and says, Makoto, look outside. And, oh, the sun, it's such a pretty view and stuff. It's so beautiful. And Garo says to her, wouldn't it be pure bliss if things could go on like this every day for the rest of our lives? And Himi hesitantly says, I mean, yeah, I guess. And Garo says, I know I'd love nothing more than to spend my whole life with you just like this. And she, of course, is very emotionally taken with this. But then intruding on this, of course, is the reality, as Nasu is giving an explanation to Teruaki at this moment. Showing these ladies such a dream requires an emotion that can act as a core for it. In this case, that would be their absolute love for Hikaru-sama. And Teraraki realizes that's why the very moment they realized their feelings for him, you invited them to the ghetto residence. Which leads me to think that maybe Teraraki doesn't know exactly what's going on here, given that he words it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But that is an important revelation to have. Like, oh, that's why he decided to ruin those cool, cute moments, is that he needed that to happen at that moment. But Nasu says, I'm not so boorish as to invite someone who clearly has no love for him. And Teraraki worriedly looks over at Himi and says, what about her? She does appear to have budding feelings of attraction for him, but her relationship with Hikaru-sama is not yet. And Nasu says, well, it would be very presumptuous of me to expect all manner of circumstances to ally perfectly with my vision. Hikaru-sama's imprisonment in the sanctuary wasn't exactly within my projections. That frighteningly brilliant marriage swindler certainly threw a wrench in my plans. Be that as it may, it would appear that this lady has also fully recognized her love for him within the dream. Because she had that moment in the last chapter where she said of Gero, if it's you, I don't mind, you can take my soul. Which is pretty big. Nasu smirks to himself and says, it is finally beginning. The next era of the human zoo, newly converted into Hikaru-sama's bedchambers. You gotta stop being so creepy, dude.
Also, I understand you're not really considerate of these women as people, but like, some of them have beds in their rooms. Just put them in the bed. Their backs are going to be so bad, like messed up from this. Chinatsu's not even on her back. She's like fucking on her face turned over with her like legs halfway twisted.
Her shoulder's going to be so sore.
Oh my god, it's going to be awful.
Nasu goes on to say that in order to ensure that these ladies will have a pleasant stay in these chambers, I have presented them with dreams of sharing their days here with Hikaru-sama. Now then, Teraraki-kun, I have a question for you. What last extra mile do you think is still needed for these bedchambers? And Teraraki's like, extra mile? Oh, what a shame! Wrong answer. He didn't answer. He
was looking for clarification. You're rude, Nasu. No one's ever told you that before.
It would seem you have yet to truly grasp the essence of the human heart. These ladies' feelings for Hikaru-sama are genuine. Thus, they will also experience the loneliness of being away from him and feel jealousy toward the other girls. Such dissatisfactions will continue to grow and eventually lead to the breakdown of their relationships. That would be too much for me to bear! I have to have my ship work out! And so he says to prevent them from harboring such emotions, I shall have the other ladies spend their time away from Hikaru-sama as dolls. Things are about to get busy, Teraraki-kun. Aren't you excited? This is my master plan. We shall call it Project Multi-Wedding. Yeah. This was interesting.
Yeah, we get some context. We know more about what Nasu's plan is and how deeply disturbing it is in multiple different ways. And we're developing things. It's good. It's a slow follow up, and I don't know. It's just satisfying watching a doll user scream and be like a giant weirdo.
Yeah, I very much appreciate that we are getting this characterization of Nasu where he views these relationships as assets for the purposes of helping out the Poison Clan. So even the idea of emotions is just like, oh, that's just a thing that we base a technique off of. That's the only reason why it's important. And also to assert my control, I'm going to just have all the rest of them spend their time as dolls so that none of them get jealous or whatever about any of that. But we also even get a little hint that, hey, maybe a big key to Hime being able to break out of this is going to be the fact that she wasn't as far along because she didn't have an extra storyline with Garo, which actually kind of like pleases me a little bit because it's like, oh, there is an acknowledgement that she didn't have as much development with him, and that's going to play a role in this.
That's actually the key to her getting out of it. That'd be cool. I'd be happy with that. So, and speaking about things we're happy about, Nick, let's talk about New Exorcist.
Quinn, I don't think I read this chapter. I opened the chapter and I turned all the pages to the end. But I feel like I'm going into it blind anyway.
My eyes sequentially went from panel to panel, reading the dialogue and looking at the art. But at the end, nothing was absorbed.
Chapter 152, 3 captains. That's right, because the 3 captains of the Exorcist Bureau have shown up to help out Nue.
It's a big moment, Nick, because, these characters, we've seen them, but now we get to see what their bonkais are, and that's a big deal.
Is it?
Right. I mean, sure. Theoretically, I suppose if you're a fan of this series, it's probably cool.
Yeah. Anyway. So, this dude is going to fight them and stuff. Again, the whole Purgatory unit thing is exposed. Fight starts. Monstrous imagery and stuff. Warnings get put between the captains. The short girl one says, "Put your souls into your fists. Your bodies have taken all kinds of punishment. You've broken legs and kept on fighting. There's nothing to fear. Nobody's dying while I'm here." And they armor up. And of course, the one we've met before, the one who kissed Gakro, her armor does not cover her cleavage because why would it? Come on, don't be silly.
It's called soul armor, not boob armor, Nick. Okay.
The soul is contained up to the nipples.
Yeah, it contains just the areolas and nothing else.
All right. All right. Shimaki is her name, so she is, I guess, going to coordinate things. They start fighting, but Shimaki declares, "Everybody freeze!" And they all stop, and all the lasers come down and miss them, I guess. Then she dispatches them. She green lights them to go after, and she sees the code. She sees the matrix and sees the lasers coming again, and says "Oh, Heiko, go that way. Suga, go that way. Nue, go that way." And they all converge on the main unit to attack it. Boom, 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 boom. They're beating it up, but still not broken. Another blast comes out. They dodge it and stuff. Shimaki commands Heiko to smash it, and she slashes her sword real strong and slashes it real fast. And we get a whole big thing about Shuten Ryugo, Heichi's hollow weapon, which shifts into high gears by performing multiple EI strikes within a set time frame. Each time, the difficulty and performance of each strike rises sharply. Okay. Big blasty laser comes out. Suga blocks it with his hand. Then he shoots a bigger laser, and Suga blocks that shot, and he says, "I consider the Fujino family my comrades, We've all fought to protect what we need to protect. The Fujino family is no different, and you treat our comrades as your toys." And he looks angry, about it. Rushes in, goes to punch. Then Heichi goes to slash her sword thingy again. Bunch of chain things come out. Purgatory enters its biblically accurate form. Bunch of arms come out.
Yeah. So we kind of breeze through it a little bit. But the one girl with the boobs is she's got math powers. That's how she's doing everything. She is calculating everything. And Nick, you just talked about earlier in this episode how you love math characters. So surely this is your new favorite character, New Exorcist, correct?
I mean, she's not my least favorite, I can tell you that much.
All right, that's good. That's good. Foxcloak was onto something then. And we get a lot of Evangelion shots, a lot of dolly zooms on characters. They got to get make sure their faces are looking as intense as possible because this is a really tough fight. Everybody's fighting really hard. So, that's pretty cool, right? Nick, right? Nick, this is super cool, right? I look, I almost kind of enjoy this chapter because it actually is sitting here and telling us something about these characters. We're like 150 chapters into this dumb fucking series, and I've never known anything about any side characters in this series because no problem has ever been solved by someone who's not named Gakuro or Nue occasionally. Yeah. So the fact that we're actually seeing here and giving
or whatever girl Gakuro's hand is holding at the time.
Yeah, whoever Gakuro just got kissed by recently also maybe gets to be present while Gakuro cuts the bad guy in half. This is the first time we've actually seen other people's like abilities and stuff like that, and I just feel like you need that for like world building. Like Bleach would never be as popular as it was if it was like Ichigo solves every problem and we never see what any captains do or any of their special powers. So like.
Some would say that the series kind of got worse because people were so obsessed with how cool the captains were.
Yes, exactly. So it's good that this series is going to indulge upon that a little bit. Unfortunately, by like the reading context, I kind of get the impression they're all just going to get their shit stomped by Kasha next chapter because he's just really strong, and then Gakuro shows up to finish it. So I don't know if this is actually going to end up being cool, but I appreciated it in this vacuum, I guess.
Quinn, there's 3 captains there.
That's right. And Nue. You know what?
On.
Yeah, they're going to hold out the good fight. Gakuro is going to show up and just cut Kasha's head off. Series is done.
Kill steals!
Mine! All right, guys, I'm going to teleport back to base. I need to pick up items.
All right. Akane-banashi, Quinn. Story 213, God of Death, Inner. Very cool image of Kaisei in the realm of all the candles and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, oh gosh, I've forgotten everyone's name. Kaichi, is that it?
Kaichi.
Yep. He looks at everything like at the stage as Taisei is performing, and he just thinks to himself, the breath is catching in my chest. As the father of a young boy and as his younger brother apprentice, because the medium of Rakugo can express different states in mind and heart, I just hope he can be vindicated.
He's just such a good guy.
He really, really does want everything to just go through for this guy. Taisei continues to perform, and he has just thrown in another twist in the story between the God of Death and the young boy that is the protagonist of his version of events. And the God of Death says, you're just a good-for-nothing layabout, and you'd be content to give up your life to save another? You would be happy to die? A bold, brave way to go out. Is that what you thought I would say? You colossal idiot. You are not even worthy of death. And the God of Death lights his candle to extend his life, which everyone's like, well, that's weird. And like Iken says, like the God of Death just lit the embers. The last time I heard him perform this, the boy lit the candle and the God of Death blew it out. He changed the ending, but why? And he looks at Taisei and he realizes the art of the personal. If the storyteller changes, so does the story. So what do you have to say, Kaisei? And Kaisei notes to himself, the name Kaisei is so heavy that it makes you want to think, if I lose myself. But is that everything? Have you forgotten the feeling after an especially good show? That surge of elation? The hard work that went into being worthy of the name Kaisei? The quiet nights when the loneliness was crushing? The enjoyment of Rakugo that dispels those clouds? Do not discount everything you've put into Rakugo and the art that has become your flesh and blood. Grow up. And that was Isho's message, at least as Kaisei interprets it to him from his last performance. He gave this big performance of, oh, I owe you everything. I'm content with like this being all my purpose. And Isho's response was, no. Mm-hmm. What the hell are you thinking? That is not actually what you have been through. You are discounting all the experiences that you have had as just being responsible, as just being, I'm being responsible for them. So in character, Kaisei says, "Don't be so childish. You have debased yourself and delegated your judgment of right and wrong to others. Now that tab must be paid. Death is the final destination of all living things, but you are unworthy of it. You have not even lived yet." So, Iken looks around at the audience and he says, "Thoughts and emotions spilled from within. Deepening sympathy turns to investment. It might recall memories from days past, and thus, a personal story is elevated to timelessness. The core of the personal style, the harmonious whole." And we get this shot of Kaisei with all of these memories backed up behind him in like kind of almost a stained glass style. All these shards of memories form a whole behind him. And Iken just thinks back to when, Kaisei first met him when he was a little kid and begged to be taken to his show to learn. And Iken says, "You've really learned how to speak. Your terrible and ferocious power contained a reassuring backbone that my mother didn't have." This is Kaisei to Isho. "And I'm old enough now to realize that back then I looked up to you in a paternal manner. I indulged in your care, allowing myself to be a child." In the story, the god of death notes it's well past nightfall and gives him the candle with his life and says, "You'll need it to see." And Kaisei just says, "No, I'll be fine. I can get through the night on my own now." And the god of death notes, "Is that so? Then I guess you won't need this anymore." And that is Kaisei's god of death, as we get a big ol' image of his older self embracing his child self from behind. And, well, okay.
Yeah.
It's over, Quinn.
Yeah. Akane clearly won, though, right? Like, it feels weird to say it after such a big, to-do and everything, but, like, hey, Akane's story clearly kicked the shit out of this, so, like, we're kind of done there, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I do feel like there's going to be some sort of, like, not very direct resolution to this contest. Also, I'm curious to see what Isho's performance is gonna look like, because he's going to perform on this cruise in some way too. It would be really fucking funny if he was like, "No, still not good enough," and does God of Death again.
Even better.
On the water. Fuck you both. Nobody wins.
None of you even gave the God of Death a flamethrower and missile launcher, so stupid idiots.
That's not how the God of Death is supposed to sound. Hello!
My name's the God of Death! Like, oh no.
I hate you, He-Man!
You gotta use cultural touchstones. Everyone knows Skeletor.
The really cheap cartoon from the 80s. There's a theatrical movie that was out recently that some people liked.
Oh my gosh. I think so. I recently watched the Jugumu episode of the anime with my boyfriend, and it's excellent. Like, I forgot how incredible that episode is, and that story, and the way she tells it, and just like the end follow-up of that line from a show where he's just like, you don't belong here, right?
You don't belong here.
And I'm hoping that there's still like an equatable kind of follow-up to this, some kind of big moment. But I do think that just being able to consume everything about Kaisei maybe in one concentrated burst might help. I think I forget a lot of details about Kaisei in between chapters or just like before the story. So like, I don't know. I just didn't feel necessarily the connection between all of his beats of the story. And then when it comes to like the actual presentation, Akane's was incredible. And this one I was just kind of like, yeah, that's great. Good on you, Kaisei. But that's kind of like, I really don't have like, I can't fawn over this or anything like that, because I just didn't feel that particularly strong of an emotion.
We didn't follow Kaisei as he was learning how to tell this story. We learned how he was learning to tell this story while he was telling it.
Yeah.
So there's not as much of an emotional fulfillment as what we got from Akane's telling, seeing everything come together from all the work that she put into it and all the things that she had going on in her life coming to a head. Kaisei is, not a character that we follow very consistently in this series.
Fair.
And we really have only been following him since this contest was announced, at least since the flashback. We do check on him, occasionally. Kaisei did show up in like the 4th chapter or something like that. He was a very early appearance. But this, I do see where you're coming from with that. I'm more just curious to see like how things are going to go from this point now that we've actually seen the end of this story.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm very curious to see what they're going to be able to do from here. But Nick, let us wrap up this week of manga by talking about One Piece chapter 1187, The Root of the Problem. And if it was the square root of the problem, this would be Nick's favorite chapter of the week. Guarantee it. So, last chapter ended with Luffy just punching Emu in the face really, really hard, and that's where we pick up. And Emu's, he's going flying. He's got blood flying out of his mouth.
Interesting fact, Quinn.
Yeah.
1187 is a prime number.
Yes, it's all coming together. Oh, I'm gonna have such great dreams tonight. So as Emu is flying away, he does a little hand symbol and summons these 2 fireballs. And we don't immediately see what's kind of going on because Luffy and Loki have a little bit of an exchange there. But they notice that these little fireballs are kind of like hanging around them. And in this moment, they're like, "Oh, hey, what's going on with this black fire?" And then Emu stands up, says, "Blade of hatred, stigma," and a giant black flame sword just rips straight through Loki. Just flies straight out and just goes straight through his body. Cut over to the Straw Hats trying to break Gunko out of the cube that she's locked inside of. And they're like, nothing's working on it. And they're like, "Is this thing not ice?" And Brooke's like, "I mean, if I touch it, it feels cold. Or at least I assume it would because I don't." And Nami's like, "You can't tell?" And then Frank is like, "No, he's got a point. I can't feel it either." And she's like, "Can somebody with nerves in their fingers try this?" So, amusingly, I didn't say we cut away because Loki then comes into the scene having been knocked all that way and just crashes into the ice cube and kind of like bounces a little bit off of it, like kind of slides down it. And then Mjolnir lands on top of the ice cube and then kind of bounces off. And after that happens, the ice starts to melt. And Brooke is very excited. But we cut away from that. No more there. We cut over to Luffy, who is noticing this little fireball is on him, and
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah, he's like, this probably... I saw what happened just a second ago. I can put 2 and 2 together. And he rips his coat off, throws it aside, and the new sword that is summoned just goes to rip off that flame that's targeting his coat. We cut over to the Western Village. Team Zolo, which is just him. I don't really know if it's a team.
I don't know why we're saying team. These guys are solo right now.
Yeah, but whatever. Team Zolo and Zoro and Summers are having a little bit of a discussion. He's just like, "Oh, what are you doing here? You're one of the 3 demons. You were in the village earlier. What are you going to do? You want to get hurt?" And Zoro says, "You're the ones who ruined a feast between good old friends. So... Summer's like, "Oh, just forget about it. It's just 10 or 20 kids. You're not even going to know.
What do you care?"
Yeah. And Zoro just says, he mentions, he's like, "My companion will be retrieving the brats in no time, and we'll be out of your hair. It's no fuss. Don't worry about it." And Zoro never would say this to his face, but he says, "Well, fancy that. My companion just went to the village, so my guess is that yours ain't coming back." And Summer just goes, "Yeah? Mind if I ask why?" And Zoro says, "Because he'll be dead." And
Cold.
Yeah, just sends off like a thorn to have like the exchange and a little bit of combat. But we cut over then.
I do look forward to seeing how this like would be staged in like a more animated medium, because Zoro is like up on one of the vast like masts of the ship looking way down at Summers as they're having this conversation.
Yes.
So it's cool.
Yes, absolutely. Cut over the Western Village where the god of water is going through things, and Sanji just starts to go through the facts. Problem 1. A monster bigger than the giants is currently taking the children away. Response: unfortunately, I won't be saving the kids. Problem 2. Their wailing mothers are an unbearable sight. Response: unfortunately, the monster is a woman. I can't kick her. Added note: the giant warriors refuse to give up on taking back their children. And we see that, Ripley is crying out for her son, and he's, crying and apologizing that he got caught again, all that. And Sanji continues, problem 3, I don't want to see a woman's tears. But I won't take part in that fight because you're the root of the problem. And he just attacks, killing him. And he says, the giants might lose sight of you, but you can't escape from me. And we have this moment of, killing him, bouncing around. And he's like, you know what, you fool, there is an entire world of difference between toughness and immortality. And that is why you cannot beat me. Even if getting rid of me means that my powers will vanish, I suppose. So go on and try it. Can you eliminate the god of rain? And Sanji's like, well, I know what you people are weak against. And he's like, ooh, what an amusing thing to say. So are you claiming you can also use the color of the Supreme King? Go on and kill me if you can, and send Sanji flying. And Sanji thinks back to when he was talking to Scooper Gaban, or Scopper rather, and he says, hey, Gramps, what about me? Can I use Supreme King Haki? And, Gaban's like, well, you should have the potential for it. However, in your case, I'm seeing that you have possibly like a masochistic instability. You must be a king too if you truly want to make Luffy the king of the pirates. And we cut over there where we get a big kind of 1.5 page spread. King of the world, Saint Domona Emu versus Emperor of the Sea, Monkey D. Luffy. As Emu shouts, there thou art, Joy Boy. And Luffy says, quit calling me all these different names. I'm Luffy, the man who will be the king of the pirates.
Yeah, nice hype chapter.
Yeah.
We finally got our big 3 square-offs going on for the climax of this arc. And feels like we're finally bigging them up.
Yeah. And don't worry, guys. Usopp's going to do something very cool. He didn't get any focus here. It's just because we're waiting to show everybody the super cool thing he's going to do in this arc.
That's right. Occasionally when Nicole and I are reading together, we make jokes that Batman's going to show up and save everyone eventually. It's like, don't worry, guys. Batman will show up soon.
maybe Usopp becomes Batman.
Yeah, so something like that. He's like, yeah, it's okay. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's it for the manga this week, everybody. Quinn, can you tell me what your favorite chapter this week was?
Yeah, let me think about this one real quick. My favorite chapter, I think, is... Ooh, that's a great question. I think I'm going to give it to Kinato's magic. It was really satisfying. I like the action. I like the way... I just like the double art stuff of it, but also I just like the way it climaxed into such a big moment. That was pretty satisfying for, pretty short arc, only like 7 or 8 chapters.
Yeah, I feel like we had a lot of good chapters this week. I feel like I'm going to go with someone Hertz for mine, but I did really like Hinata's magic. I liked Ichi the Witch. I liked Blue Box. I liked Dandadan. I liked Spy Family. I liked Animal Signal. I liked so much of what we read this week. So awesome stuff. MVP.
I am torn because I kind of want to give it to Sanji, but he didn't actually do anything this chapter. He just kind of got punched. So I don't know if I can give it to him. So I think instead I'm going to give it to Descaros from Ichi the Witch because I truly, really loved her immediate shit-eating grin when she's like,
oh, I suppose I can just let you win this one.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Me and my family had a great time here. So don't worry about it, champ. So good.
I think that I am going to give mine to Nasu from Marriagetoxin. I felt like I got a lot out of his big evil speech in this one to kind of lay the groundwork, not just in terms of like explaining like, oh, here is how the machinations have worked, but also very thematically informing like the conflict of what's going on. It provided a lot of characterization to what has been a big building conflict over the last couple of arcs, and I appreciated getting that. But I also really liked I feel like we could have gone with Hina and Blue Box for her cool little speech showing about growing from failure and everything. And yeah, Kinato and Tarasu, hell yeah, kicking and stuff. So yeah, great week of manga. I loved a lot of stuff this week.
Absolutely. The audience, by the way, picked Spy Family as the chapter of the week. And it looks like, as of right now, Sanji and Miss Uzaki from Animal Signal tie for character of the week.
People like the kicky people this week.
Yeah, I think our audience just likes bunny girls with big boobs. I think that's
no. It's the kicks. It's the kicks.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. But she didn't kick that much this chapter. She mostly punched.
She did. I guess she didn't kick that guy. She kneed him.
Yeah.
You're correct. So, all right.
Nope. Our audience are perverts. That's the only other conclusion you can come to.
I mean, I feel like it's in character for them.
Yeah. How many Germans watch us? There's at least a couple perverts in that one alone.
All right, guys. Thank you all for listening to the podcast. We will record again next Wednesday, sometime between 7:30 and 8 Eastern time in the evening. If you want to know exactly when the show goes live, then follow us on social media on BlueSky. Quinn is Rolo T. I am Nick F. Time. We also are Weekly Manga Recap on BlueSky. WMR Votes, run by Ninja X3i. If you want to take part in the poll for favorite chapter and MVP when that goes live. We have a Discord, which is linked wherever this is posted to. If you want to join our community, talk about the chapters as they come out, talk about the current recommendation, which is My Dress Up Darling, which we are currently reading our way through. And also just like general hangout space with great people. We are on YouTube, youtube.com/weekly manga recap, which features an opening sequence at the beginning of each episode by Milo Jack Stillitz and Bree Cheddar. And occasionally some of our episodes have title cards, which are done by Steve Man. Steve Man's art you can check out just by searching anywhere on the internet for Steve Man art. He posts in a lot of different places. We have a Google Doc that is also maintained by Ninja X3i. If you want to check through that, see what other stuff we have taken as recommendations in the past, check out the history of all the year-end rewards and the MVP and favorite series voting, all sorts of good, helpful stuff in that document. And we are also on weeklymangarecap.podbean.com if you just want to get the audio version and listen to the entire archive of all of Weekly Manga Recap. We're on there. Also posts over to Spotify, to iTunes, and all the podcast feed kind of places. And if you want even more Weekly Manga Recap, and if you want to help financially support the show, we are on patreon.com/Weekly Manga Recap. Become a subscriber on there for $5 and you get access to bonus episodes.
Absolutely. All right. That's going to do it for Weekly Manga Recap this week. We'll see you guys next time when... Nick, make a big, bold prediction about next week's chapters.
A big, bold prediction.
I'm going to say this is going to be the first time universally, next week, universally, we're both going to vote for New Exorcist as chapter of the week.
Oh, I mean, stranger things have happened.
And that's right, everybody. Over Blue Box's final chapter, we'll both be like, well, this New Exorcist was so good. So...
Blue Box is going to announce a sequel series.
Bluer Box.
Bluest Box.
There's actually less blue in the gymnasium this time around, though. It's an ironic title.
Reveals Blue Box is actually going to reveal that it was a prequel to Boruto 2 Blue Vortex this entire time.
Oh my god, it's been there in front of us since the beginning.
Yeah, the high quality romantic relationships, the
focus on Batman.
The female characters with character. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.